Hello and welcome to the Career Changes. Today we are going to talk about career change with Adam Sackett, who went from a two-decade career for lunch banks to opening and owning his own karate school. We'll discuss his career change and the wider challenges of career transition. Hi Adam, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. A
I
great
also
Monday.
realized, yes, I also realized I say karate because that's how we say it in Italy, but I know you would pronounce it
Oh,
karate
so
probably.
uh, I'm in the US, so we say karate.
Okay,
Like
the
we
same.
put the A at the end. Yeah, you're close. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can correct me if I don't pronounce it in the best way.
You got it.
So, let's start with your career. How did you start your professional life, or better, what was your first job?
Great question. So um, I went to Rutgers University in New Jersey in the US, and I finished my bachelor's degree, and I ended up working for HSBC Bank. And I worked in their credit card division. And I worked there for about 11 years, did different roles. I was in sales. I was in like a junior sales manager. So kind of worked my way up there a little bit and was there for 11 years. The Great Recession hit and I lost my job. Soon after that, I was out of work for, oh, no, about 6 months or so. And then I went to TD Bank here in US. Similar role, worked for them for about a decade. I did was in account management sales, and then I did some project management for them as well. So between the two banks, I had about 21 years of experience.
Mm.
Um, Interestingly enough, I always have done karate. I started when I was 11 years old, so a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. um, and I started teaching at one of my teachers' schools in the late '90s, and taught there for a little while. And then in 2012, my younger brother opened his own karate school in a town in New Jersey. I still had my job at TD, but I started teaching at my brother's school 2 nights a week. And like, I just loved it. I loved interacting with the kids. I loved, seeing them learn, seeing the effect karate would have on them in terms of like making them, concentrate better, instilling discipline, and just kind of like that positive attitude. So taught there for about a right before COVID, and I live about 40 minutes from where my brother's school was. So I always had a dream of opening a school by where I live. So really, the genesis of how my school started was over COVID. I reached out to the town, and a lot of the team sports were canceled, like baseball, soccer. They all were canceled because of COVID, right? They didn't want people close in together. So I reached out to the town mayor, and she pointed me to the recreation director, and I started talking with him, and I said, hey, I'm a karate teacher. Uh, I could teach karate, in a class through recreation. Nobody has to touch each other. I could do it outside in a park, right? People are looking to do an activity over COVID. So we talked, and he gave me a space in a park. This was over the summer. It's always warm. And I would social distance the people, and they would wear masks. And my first session, I got about 35 people, which was really good. So I was really excited. It kind of looked like a little army of karate students in the park. So I started teaching them. And then we did another session. I got a lot of the same people back. And then I was like, you know what? I'm getting a good following. So maybe it's the time for me to start my dream of having my own school by me. So the challenge was winter hit, right? So I couldn't do karate outside the park anymore. So I found a dance school and I started renting a room from them 2 nights a week. And then I kind of got the word out to people that had done karate with me and others. And I started, and I had about 30 to 35 people that started with me at the dance place. And it was going well. I was getting signups. I grew to about 40, 45 people. And the room became too small. I couldn't properly run a karate class. I didn't want people to kick each other and legs flying all over the place. So I found a place in town right next to this popular ice cream store in town, and moved into my current location in September of 2021, and have been there since.
Well, you gave a great highlight of your career journey.
Yeah.
Now, let's take a step back and let's go through
Sure.
the different steps. So,
Okay.
what was your dream job when you were a child? Because you mentioned you started karate at that time, but was it that one something you were thinking about, or you were daydreaming of something else?
No, I was always into sports, like baseball, football, and I was big sports, and I still am a big sports person. And I guess my dream, I was not, I knew like right from when I was young, I probably was not going to be a professional baseball player. I just, did not have the talent for that. But I liked journalism. So I was thinking of maybe going into sports journalism or sports broadcasting or something to that effect. I want to be like maybe on TV broadcasting games. That was kind of what I was thinking of when I was a young child. As I grew older, what I learned was sports broadcasting, there are not many jobs. Like a lot of the broadcasting jobs go to former athletes. So there's, play by play, and there's not so many opportunities. So I guess I kind of leveled off, and I started karate when I was 11, and I really liked it. And I was like, you know what? I like the activity, and I kind of grew into enjoy. I started as like an assistant teacher, and then I really loved that, and I was like, I want to go into teaching with that.
Mm. So you mentioned that you went to college or university.
Yes.
What's your educational background?
So I ended up doing economics and criminal justice. I was thinking originally of maybe going to law school, but then that wasn't for me. And then I thought for a little while about going in the FBI. Then I just was like, no, that's not. I always was like kind of changing my mind, and nothing was sticking. So I just was like, you know what, I'll do it some business courses, and I'll go out in the business world, and that's kind of how I ended up in the banking industry. I didn't like per se say I wanted to work for a bank, but I figured banks, they paid well, they had good benefits, they're large companies. I wanted to have a family. I could take care of my family. I could buy a house, so it kind of made sense.
Mm. So
But I
you
never
mentioned,
really like loved it. Loved it,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned before that that was your first job, but how did it happen? How did you start your career in banking?
Uh, I I had gotten like a couple jobs out of college that weren't great paying. This was like late 90s, so I'm a little dating myself with age, but that's okay. But I, this is like before like job sites like Indeed and LinkedIn and all that sort of stuff. So, the way you would used to look for a job would be you would look in a newspaper and look at the classified sections, wanted ads. So I was just scrolling on us through the Sunday local paper here in New Jersey, and I saw a job, and it said, junior sales manager, needs some sales experience, good opportunity, that sort of stuff. So I sent my resume, and they called me in for an interview. I interviewed with the gentleman who became my boss, his boss, and then they asked me for references. Started a week later and stayed there for 11 years. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you had a redundancy, um, but I guess you also say that you didn't really love this job.
Yeah.
Did you have a specific moment before then that was a turning point for you where you started to think what to do next?
Uh, I think really when all right, so when my teacher, my original sensei, um, she offered me a position of teaching in one of her schools. This was like 1999, and I said sure. She said, there's an opportunity for teaching. I know you like being an assistant teacher. Would you be interested? I said sure. Now, was that going to like change my career at that time? No, it was just kind of one night a week. See, and really, I guess maybe I should have been a teacher all along, like maybe an English teacher or something. But like the spark of educating, I taught kids, I taught teenagers, I even taught some adults as well. So teaching to me was like it wasn't so much okay, I taught karate or I taught math or I taught English, just like the general kind of aspect of teaching, like nothing like kind of like gets me excited more than like seeing like a light bulb come on in somebody's head. Not a literal physical light bulb, but that light bulb pops that, oh, I get it,
Yeah.
and it makes me feel good, like because I feel like I'm making a difference, right? Like that was the other thing. Like, yeah, banking paid well and credit card, being in that credit card it paid well, but like, am I really making a difference to anyone? Probably not. But I want to like, when I look back on my life, I want to kind of say, okay, I did something good and I left kind of a legacy, and I led the life that made me feel happy. So
Mhm.
that was really kind of that aha moment was really once I got into the dojo and got into it, planning lessons and teaching and seeing like the looks on people's faces when they were learning and the impact I was making. That kind of got me going. Obviously, it was kind of a long cycle before I ever started my own place. I had to get like that teaching experience, and then also learning. My brother taught me a lot, and my teacher too, about running your own school is one thing, right? Teaching, that's almost like the easy part, but like doing the marketing, doing the operations, making sure people are paying their tuition. There's a lot to it. Making sure you got to keep the lights on. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. So
yeah,
let's take that as a point of insight for the next question. So, what
sure.
have been for you the pros and cons of a career in banking, and what have been the pros and cons of a career as a martial arts instructor?
Great question. So the pros in banking, a couple things. So the pay was very good. The like the benefits were good in terms of like 401k. My kids got I have two children. My kids got covered with benefits, medical, dental, vision, that sort of stuff. Good retirement plan. Allowed me to not live in the streets. So that's definitely was a pro. Now it wasn't all bad. Like I like it. I liked interacting with people, so I did that a lot. I dealt with like CEO. I dealt with like C suite people, like CEOs, COOs, chief marketing officers. Um, that sort of group. So it kind of went along with karate because in karate, it's almost like I'm public speaking, right? I'm speaking to people. And in the banking, I also kind of would do presentations and things like that. So that was definitely a pro that I think did kind of help me become a better teacher because it helped me gain like that confidence and just like that feel of being in front of people. Now, like I said earlier, the cons was I didn't feel like fulfilled. Um, it was like, okay, I get up in the morning, I eat my breakfast, I get to the office, I do my work, I go home. Next day, I wake up. I eat my breakfast. I gotta, like, am I gonna do that for 35 years? That's, that's, I don't know. I just didn't, like I said, didn't feel fulfilled. And also too, um, with a big company, you're end of the day, you're just a number on a spreadsheet, right? You're an FTE, right? That's what they call you. And you you could get you could lose your job at any time, right? Like I lost my job when I was at HSBC because the economy went bad. So that always was like a con to me. Like, all right, when's the shoe gonna drop, and I'm gonna lose my job. So that was kind of the con for me. In terms of martial arts, as I was saying, the pros was like fulfillment, making a difference, teaching something that I learned as a kid, as a teenager, that gave me like confidence and discipline, and I learned how to be. A lot of people are not like respect is big for me. Like respect your parents, respect your elders, respect your teachers, and I don't see that a lot, especially nowadays. Like I think people just do their thing, and especially like a teenager, they're not respectful to their parents or their elders. So I learned a big thing too from karate was like the aspect of being respectful to people, because that's just the way I felt I should be. So like that aspect of respect was huge to me. So I was 100% a pro. Now cons was starting a small business is not easy, right? It's, small businesses open and close all the time, right? I have to pay rent. I have to pay my utilities. I have to get new students. I can't be successful with 20 students. I need to constantly fill my dojo. And that I like to do that, but like kids are um they're fickle, right? They might like karate for 6 months, and they don't like it anymore, and they want to do baseball because their best friends doing baseball. So there's some turnover there, like where I have that worry of I got to keep my dojo. I gotta keep. I don't want to teach a class with 2 kids, right? I want to have 15, 20 kids is usually my goal per class. So that is something that weighs on you a little bit. And sort of a con is always keeping like that dojo open. Another con was, and it's kind of been solved now, but I wasn't like big on. Well, obviously people have to pay tuition because I have to earn money. So, but I like never felt comfortable saying, oh, by the way, you gotta pay your tuition this month, and you gotta do that. I didn't. Well, I wasn't like really happy like being like the collecting person. So, my brother, my teacher, used this service where it kind of takes the teacher out of that process. It's like a third party company. They take a little percent of the tuition, but they send the bills, they collect the money, and then they fund my bank account. So that's kind of eased my pain. So the con of having to be a collector has kind of been solved a little bit. Another con, a little bit of a struggle is I live in a smaller town. It's maybe 20, 25,000 people. But for some reason, my town has a lot of karate schools. So I have to be wary of competition, and you know, people are people are going to call, and that's people are going to call, find out, hey, what's your prices? Because they don't know what to ask. They don't understand that maybe I'm a good teacher, or
Yes.
maybe I'm going to make an impact in their kid's life. They think it's a service. It's like when you join a gym, how much do you charge? Because you don't know any better. So you ask, what the price is. So that always is kind of like, when someone asks me that, I try to like redirect the conversation into, okay, here's the benefits. Because I never know, maybe this is someone from a competing school that's trying to find out how much I charge.
Yeah.
So that's like that battle.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess it's challenging, yeah, when you're a small business.
it's like McDonald's versus Burger King versus Wendy's,
Yes.
little karate school battles in my town. Yeah.
But I really like what you said about, for example, you didn't like the aspects of asking for money, that many
Yeah,
times for people that change from corporate world to being self-employed or becoming business owners, you may is one of the obstacles because it requires also a certain type of mentality.
yes,
And I think it's great that you find a turnaround
yeah,
with that. So that sometimes something we don't like may become an obstacle to our realization or to moving forward. But you manage to give it to someone else,
yes,
and so you solve the problem, and you can move
yeah,
forward and feel inspired, and maybe well tackle the other challenges as well. But
yeah.
that's a good move.
And it's convenient too because people could set up like just automatic withdrawals from their bank accounts. When I was collecting, I didn't do that. I just was like cash or check, so it's
Oh,
like easier. Someone could put like on from their bank account, from their credit card, whatever. So it's a little more convenient the way I'm doing it now.
yeah. So you mentioned so many things that makes you happy with this new career, and you find inspiration, you give inspiration, you believe in what you do. But in one sentence, more or less, how do you think you're making the world a better place?
Great question. Because the skills that you learn from karate, like that affected my life, are skills that whether my student is long gone from martial arts, that they could take with them, right? The skill, like I was saying, the skill of being respectful, the skill of having a positive attitude, the skill of never giving up. The skill. I have, for example, I have like students that once they're comfortable, I have them lead like activities. What other, in an 8-year old in soccer or baseball is not going to go and lead an activity for their team per se, right? In karate, I'm building their confidence that they could go in front of a group. Those are skills that they're going to need no matter what they may do in life, whether they go in the business world, whether maybe they go into law and become a lawyer, things like that. Um, and Also too, I think I was talking about like that positive attitude towards things, like don't give up. So often like things don't go your way the first time, but there's like a saying I like that I say to people. It's called fall down 8 times, rise 9. So sometimes you're gonna fall, but I'm gonna try to teach you the skills that will help you rise. So
Mm.
that's so. Am I like affecting the greater population of the world? No, but what I'm having, I think, a good effect on people that come through my school at some point in their lives, and they're leaving, or maybe they'll stay with me a long time. Maybe they'll become a teacher. They're leaving with life skills that will make their lives better, make lives like maybe they have children in the future. Maybe it makes them a better parent. Maybe it makes them a better brother. Maybe it makes them a better student. So those that to me is what I consider making the world a better place.
Mm. So can you share with us some interesting stories from both careers in banking and being an instructor of martial arts? If there's anything
Uh,
that comes up to your mind.
sure. I had I had like two boys. They were trying karate. This is maybe a year or so ago, and the mother was like very reticent. She's like, "Oh, both of the boys I think were on the spectrum of autism," and she's like, "Oh, I tried my kids in soccer and or whatever, and they can't really do these team sports." I heard from their doctor that karate might be good. So she said, but I warn you, they don't listen. They're rough and they're gonna wander around and things like that. So I was like, all right, let's do this. I said, let's try. They could join my class for free. No, no risk to you. If it's something you think they could do, we could talk maybe about joining. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. No foul, right? You tried it, you didn't spend any money, and so on. So they came in, and they were a little rough. Like they weren't listening. It was hard to keep them attentive and things like that. But the mom was like, kind of like, we spoke, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna have them try. So like my program, when you first join, there is a 6 month commitment, and then like your tuition becomes monthly. So I said, hey, she was okay doing like that 6 month commitment. And then slowly but surely they got better and better. And one day the mother wrote me a note and like literally almost brought a tear to my eyes, like, thank you, Mr. Sackett, for helping my sons. You're so patient. I see their behavior getting better. They love coming to your class. Um, they're kind of coming out of their shell. I see in your class, they're working with other students. So that was like a story that really like hit me in my heart, made me feel good. So yeah, that is like, and I've had other stories like that, but that's like a recent one that like when a lot of times when people they go on like Yelp or they write an email on Google review or whatever, a lot of times people just go and write it when it's something bad. Oh, I went to this restaurant and the service was terrible. For her to go out of her way, and it was actually an email, it wasn't even a Google review, but to send someone an email to go out of their way, just tell you how well their kids are doing with you, and you're doing a great service for them. It says a lot to me, and it really made me feel good. Did it give me extra money? Did it give me a Mercedes Benz? No, but it tugged at my heartstrings. So
Oh,
that is definitely a story that I love to tell. In
that's a
terms
great
of
story.
banking, like I was talking about with the public speaking, we I was not great at early on in my career at public speaking. We had to do like a presentation on some of our clients. So I picked one of this furniture company I worked with, and I put together a nice presentation, and I put some video in it and some pictures, and it was an internal presentation, and it was like the head of our business unit, the head of the marketing, and I never presented before to them. So I did my presentation. It was like 20 minutes long, and then some other folks went as well. And then afterwards, the head of our business unit came over to me and he said, Adam, um, to be honest, I always thought you were kind of shy and restrained. You didn't really come across to me as someone who would give a really good presentation. And he said, I'm really surprised and I'm happy and I'm proud of you that you knocked it out of the park with that presentation. So that was a nice feeling to have that. You had like this CEO guy who he sees presentations on a daily basis to come up to me and say, you did a great job. That was definitely a memorable moment for me.
Oh, that's very inspirational.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're reaching the end of this episode, and
sure,
hopefully all our listeners can find words of inspiration from you.
sure.
So what type of advice would you give to anyone looking to change their careers?
Great question. I would say be patient. Um, if you are looking into changing your career, don't like if you have a job, whatever you do, don't just like say, I'm done. I'm going to start my small business. There is risk to it. So be patient, have a good plan, right? Have a plan B, have a plan C, plan for contingencies, right? Because not everything goes in a straight line. learn, like, learn as much as you can, right? Maybe you have a skill and you know how to teach pottery, or you know how to make good pizzas and you want to open a restaurant, but learn stuff besides what your passion is. You're gonna have to learn how to market. You're gonna have to learn how to operate the place. You're gonna have to learn how to, maybe you've never managed people and how to done payroll before and things like that. Learn how to do that. Learn how to have the right cheerleaders around you, whether it's your family, friends. You need that like support. I'm this podcast, I'm constantly trying to get the word out about my dojo. So that's another thing. Like, get there's no such thing as like you're not wasting your time if you go and you do a presentation or you go to an assembly. I'm always going to like these street fairs and trying to gain new students. I'm not wait even if I get one student, to me it was worth it. So it's going to take some time. Be patient. Have a good plan. Have some money in the bank, because you don't want to put all your eggs in that one basket. And you want to still take care of your family. So I think the biggest thing is, if you want to pursue that that passion, you can't expect everything to happen like in 1 week. It's not going to be like that. So you have to be disciplined and patient. Keep, for lack of a better word, keep your eye on the prize. And that's definitely the advice I give to other folks looking to kind of do whatever career change they're thinking about.
And really, the last question, if you could give yourself a piece of advice, what would you say to your younger self?
I would say, hey, you're pretty good at teaching. Maybe you should have started a little earlier. So that's probably what I would have said to myself. Like, you really weren't really so much made for the business world. Yeah, you can make some good money, but you're good at teaching people. So I would say that would 100% be what I would say to my younger self. Would be like, start earlier with like going down teaching, whether it became martial arts, whether it's martial arts or in the school systems, whatever it may be.
Well, thank you, Adam, for joining us today and sharing your inspirational career change story.
Sure, 100%. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. My school's Family Martial Arts Center in Scotch Plains, and if anyone's local New Jersey, come pay me a visit.
That's great.
Yeah.
So last message for our listeners: don't forget to subscribe to our channel and tune in for a new inspirational episode of the Career Changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Have a good one. Take care.